Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here discussing something that is kind of a little bit personal and kind of something that I haven't been too publicly open about, and that would be my fitness journey that I've been going on since the beginning of this year. This is something that I have been doing for the course of the year, and I've been seeing the results, and I don't want to get cocky and say like, oh, well, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But this is my personal experiences that I've been dealing with doing this journey, probably a segment on this channel where it's going to be turning into checking in so very few months and just talking about what I'm going through. The purpose of this blog was to be a lifestyle blog, and one of those things for me that I've recently developed as a lifestyle is fitness. Chunk of the video is going to be why I did this fitness journey. And for me, the number one thing was I have always been overweight my entire life. I never knew what it was like to be small. I never knew what it was like to be a 00. I never knew what it was like to go to the small section. Like, I never knew what any of that meant. And growing up, I never referred to myself as fat. And even still to this day, I don't call myself fat, as I don't call anyone fat. There are other words that could be used in place of fat. And for myself, growing up, I knew that I wasn't the skinny mini, but I had this perception in my head that like, oh, I can lose the weight like that. And obviously, if it were so easy, I would have done it. But I had always been heavier set. I've always been bigger, thicker, whatever you want to call it. But I was always oddly proportioned, like where you could tell I liked to eat donuts. You could tell I liked to eat cookies. And you could tell that I liked to eat bad things because it would all grow right in my stomach. And like my arms and stuff weren't big, and like my chest was big, but that was because I had a belly on me. Getting ready to move to Boston to go to school is when I really kind of started not even like consciously starting to lose weight, but it was one of those things where I signed up for, I think the first calorie counter app that I signed up for was Lose It. And then I switched over to MyFitnessPal, and it was one of those things where it wasn't like I was consciously putting it in. It wasn't like I was consciously keeping a track of everything. I was just doing it because it was something to do. I went to school. Of course, I didn't have a car when I lived in Boston. I was walking everywhere, and I had lost a ton of weight, where I was actually at the smallest I had been in notable history, where I remember stepping on the scale and seeing this number and being like, oh my God, like this is the smallest I've ever been. I was in school in 2013. I had to come home in 2014 due to financial reasons, and from there I just went on a bender where I was drinking 5 out of the 7 nights a week, where I was going out, I wasn't eating right, I was in a state of depression where it was just like I felt myself spiraling so heavily out of control. Still always absent-mindedly keeping in tune with my body. When we planned our trip to Nashville, when I came home from Nashville, that I was going to start this fitness journey. I was going to do a 12-week program that I found on Pinterest 2 years ago that I had been doing on and off for forever. And I said I wanted to do it, and I was going to do the full 12 weeks. That next morning, I got up, I stripped myself down, I stepped on the scale, and I saw the number on the scale, and I about passed out because it was the heaviest I had ever been in my entire life. The number was what I thought was in my head plus 10. Like, that number was, it was so astronomical, and I couldn't believe that I got myself to this point where it was like, how did you let yourself go so much? Like, you went to Nashville, but that wasn't it. It was all the neglect of like, oh, if I order a pizza and eat half of it now and half of it later, like that's not all the calories. Like, it still was all the calories at the end of the day, but it wasn't, it was just all of it had added up, and I realized how awful I felt when I stepped on that scale and I saw that number, and I was like, oh my God. So I started the fitness program in January, and all of January I went, all of February I went, in March I sprained my ankle and I was sidelined for a week, and then in April I finished, and then I was kind of in limbo where I wasn't really doing anything. June, more so again picking up where I left off, I found a new program, 12-week program I was doing. I think at most I lost 17 pounds, which it doesn't seem like a lot, but when it wasn't necessarily the pounds I was losing, it was the inches. It was the stamina that I was building. It was the increased endurance that I had. It was the energy levels that I had. It was everything else besides the weight. It was more so this past month when I started doing these workouts that I found on Spotebi, which was a website I found off of Pinterest, and I started doing the workouts fully and completely, and I noticed that in the 1 month of doing all these workouts the way that they told me to do them, as opposed to having the 12-week and just kind of, I guess, like free-ranging it, I lost more consecutive weight than I did with the other one. So I wasn't so fixated on losing the weight, but I was so fixated on just wanting to do it. And that's been like how I've been doing it. When I come back from Cape Cod next week, and after the Hell Week that we'll have at work, I'm going to start the intermediate program for Spotebi, which I'm sure I will do another follow-up video on my experiences with that. In terms of my goals and what I've done so far, the ultimate goal for myself was to lose 40 pounds in the calendar year. So from January to December was to lose 40 pounds. And so far, as of Monday morning, I have lost 23.4 pounds with both doing the 12-week program and then also doing the beginner course. It is currently June 28th, which means that we're halfway past the year, and I still have 16.6 pounds to go before I lose the 40. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but a lot of things happen and things come up and circumstances happen, and I think that it's going to be totally doable. I have plateaued quite a bit in terms of my success, where like sometimes I feel like that I'm not progressing at all. But the biggest thing that people will say, like, how are you doing it? Like, you look so good. What are you doing? It's keeping consistent. One thing that I've noticed for myself that I've been doing is at the beginning of every month, I create a workout plan where let me show you a workout plan. And this is the exact thing from the Spotebi website, which I'll link down below. And just putting it down on a calendar so you can see all the things that you're going to be doing that month and crossing them off when you do them. It is the most rewarding feeling in the world. Like, there are days on here that, like, for example, like lower body, not my favorite. Abs, definitely not my favorite. And crossing them off once you're done with them, it just makes you feel so much better. And like, even though I didn't do 2 of the workouts this month because I felt really ill and I couldn't do them, like, for example, I go to the gym Monday through Thursday, and then Friday I couldn't go because I was busy with work, or because I had plans that night or something, or whatever plethora of excuses I could come up with. I would say to myself, it's okay, just go back to it on Monday. Like, instead of just like saying like, oh, well, why don't you just go tomorrow? Like, my body couldn't understand that, like, I couldn't do that. And it was like, say for example, if Monday started and I was eating really healthy in the morning, like I was eating a protein bar, and then like somebody would bring in donuts, and then I would have a donut, and that's like, oh my god, this whole week a shot. It's like, no, just your Monday a shot. Like, it's not, your life's not ruined because you had a donut. Like, it's just that one meal is, and that just means you go to the gym and you have to work harder. Before, I used to make excuses for myself all the time, where it was like, oh, I'll just start on Monday. Oh, I'll just start on Monday. How many times my boyfriend would be like, oh, you're starting your workout on Monday? Oh, Monday's the start date, right? Like, everybody would know me would like joke and bust my balls about it. And then it was like, oh, like, I guess that's really true, that like I kept making these excuses, and like I got sick and tired of making the excuses. So since then, and one of my resolutions for this year was definitely to stop making excuses. And now if, like, say in the morning I wake up and I have a great run, or say I wake up in the morning, I have a great breakfast, but then I have a shitty lunch, well then I'll just compromise and like won't eat as much as dinner. Like, because I've made myself more accountable and I'm making myself more aware of the things going into my body and more aware of the things that I'm doing to my body, it has completely changed how I look at myself, what I've done, and it just makes me want to grow more. I'm going to insert some photos about when I first started this program into where I was the last like progress photo I made. And like, even though I'm still thick and even though I'm still heavy, you can see the difference. And even if you were to tell me I didn't lose any weight, my confidence is through the roof. Whereas before, I felt so frumpy and so gross and so just like unhappy with myself, that now my confidence is starting to come back. I've always been like a very weird person where I've always been very, very egotistical and very, very confident. And there was a point in my life where like I wasn't happy in my own skin. Like, I think I'm a half decent looking person, but it was like nothing about me was good. And like, nothing about me I felt confident about, nothing about me I felt great with. And now it's like I'm starting to get that confidence back. And that was the biggest thing for me. So, needless to say, I'm going to put those photos in right here, and you guys can compare to yourselves to see the difference with 6 months or so has made. This video was more or less just to kind of talk about my experiences so far that I've had with the fitness journey, where I'm not anywhere near done where I want to be. Like I said, I've lost 23.4 pounds so far. The second half of this year is going to be more testing out different things. It's going to be more trying different strategies and techniques. I want to start doing more intermittent fasting. I want to start dieting a lot better, meal prepping, etc., etc., and just really sticking in with the workouts. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you like my videos, my content, and if you like me, feel free to subscribe by hitting the button down below and getting notified when I post new videos. I'll link my blog for you guys down below too, where I have talked about so far some of the struggles I faced with my fitness journey, and just talking about like my first installment of the 12-week program and how it's really it was not what I was expecting. But if you guys want to check those out, they're over at the blog, which is at Life with Sarah or at sarahlock.wordpress.com, 2 H's, 2 K's. And I'll also link all my social media down below too, where I do post a lot of fitness things, where it's just more or less me dying at the gym. If you guys want to see that. Guys, again, so much for watching. Always appreciate it. I love you always. And until next time, take care, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.